Your bank account is a reflection of your mindset. That might sound hard, but it's the truth. If your thinking is average, your results will stay average. If you want a millionaire life, you need to think like one before you ever earn like one. Most people try to change their income without changing their mindset. That's why they stay stuck. This video will give you 3 clear methods to start building a millionaire mindset from the inside out. Not vague ideas, not empty motivation. Real daily habits that shift how you think, how you act, and how you grow. If you've been working hard but getting nowhere, it's time to change the way you think. This is where your breakthrough starts, with these 3 mindset methods that successful people use every day. Stay with me and apply what you hear. Your future depends on it. Number 1, break your comfort routine before it breaks your future. Most people want to live better. They want more freedom, more control, more choices, and more peace of mind. But they're not getting closer. They're stuck. And most of the time, they don't even realize what's holding them back. It's not a lack of money. It's not their job. It's not even their background. What's stopping them is the comfort they've made peace with. They've created a routine that feels safe, but it's silently killing their future. It feels familiar. It feels easy, but it's the very thing that keeps them from becoming someone greater. Comfort is a silent thief. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It makes excuses sound reasonable. It makes failure feel tolerable. It makes time feel like it can always be caught up later. And that's the danger. When you don't challenge it, your life starts moving in circles. You repeat the same days, the same thoughts, the same actions, and expect something different to happen. If you're serious about developing a millionaire mindset, the first thing you have to do is this. Break your comfort routine before it breaks your future. Because if you don't, it will. Slowly, quietly, without you even noticing. You wake up every day at the same time, drag your feet through the same tasks, waste the same hours, scrolling, speaking about the same frustrations, doing the same low-value things, hoping for a big change. That's not how it works. Change doesn't come to people who wish. It comes to people who interrupt their pattern. If your morning routine is built for comfort, you've already lost the day. Wake up earlier, not because it sounds cool, but because it gives you time to think before the world grabs your attention. Start doing something in the morning that you usually avoid. That could be reading something useful. That could be journaling about what you're tolerating. That could be working out when your body says, stay in bed. That first hour of your day either makes you stronger or keeps you soft. And soft minds don't build strong futures. Think about your evenings. Most people spend them recovering. A millionaire mindset uses that time to rebuild. While others are numbing themselves with entertainment, those who grow are reviewing their day. What worked, what didn't, what they need to fix. That reflection is how you improve. It's how you take ownership. It's how you avoid repeating the same weak patterns. You can't build a strong future if you end every day on autopilot. Look closely at your social habits. Do you keep talking to the same people about the same problems? That's comfort. Do you feel the need to explain your goals to people who don't understand them? That's also comfort. You're trying to be accepted, but the truth is, growth requires distance. If the people around you don't challenge you, then they're helping you stay the same. A millionaire mindset requires you to protect your energy. You can't keep feeding your time to people who drain your hunger. If they don't talk about ideas, improvement, responsibility, or progress, then ask yourself, why are you still there? Comfort is not just about where you are. It's about what you avoid. If you've been avoiding hard decisions, you're feeding your comfort. If you've been postponing painful conversations, you're protecting your comfort. If you haven't taken control of your finances, if you haven't checked where your money goes, if you haven't set a target and stuck to it, you're living by default, not by design. That's a mindset that will never lead to wealth. You have to get uncomfortable on purpose. Wake up earlier than you want to. Say no when it's easier to say yes. Do the thing you've been avoiding. Speak the truth when it shakes your voice. Stop trying to avoid struggle. Struggle is where the new you is built. Most people try to escape it, but the people who win, those who develop a millionaire mindset, they train for it. You'll hear a lot of people say, "I'll change when I feel ready." That's comfort talking. You'll never feel fully ready to leave what's familiar. You'll never feel fully confident before the first step. And that's exactly why most people never take it. Don't wait to feel brave. Don't wait to feel motivated. Act while you're uncomfortable. Do it while you're unsure. Show up before you believe in yourself. Action builds belief. And the moment you move differently, your mind starts to change. You stop acting like a prisoner. You start acting like a builder. Now understand this. Success is not one big move. It's not one lucky break. It's not one viral moment. It's your daily routine shaped with purpose, not comfort. It's how you show up when nobody's watching. It's the decision you make when it's easier to go back to your old ways. A millionaire doesn't just think about money. They think about responsibility, about time, about choices, about energy. They live with intention even when it hurts. Ask yourself right now, what part of your routine is too easy? What have you been repeating that's keeping you where you are? What's the one thing you know you should have changed by now, but you keep putting it off? That's the point of transformation. Not next year, not next month, now. Real change starts the moment you decide to stop accepting comfort as your lifestyle. The hard truth is that nobody is coming to push you, not your friends, not your boss, not your family, not the people online. If you want to develop the kind of mindset that builds real wealth and independence, you have to get serious about your daily environment. You have to cut the noise. You have to kill excuses. You have to show up when it feels pointless. Because every time you do, you break a piece of the old version of you. And that's what this is about. Killing the old comfort-driven version of you and replacing it with someone who moves with discipline, clarity, and grit. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you do have to stop running in circles. You have to stop protecting the same routine that's keeping you broke, tired, distracted, and disconnected. You have to say no more. You have to decide, today is different. You have to wake up, sit with yourself, and ask, am I building something or just repeating the same day again? There is no big secret, no perfect plan, just this. Break your comfort routine before it breaks your future. Because if you don't, you'll look up one day and realize you traded your best years for ease. And ease never built anything worth remembering. Start small, start today, but start with truth. Because the truth is, your future won't change until you do. Number 2, act like no one is coming to save you. Most people live like someone's coming. They don't say it out loud, but they think someone will show up. Someone will give them direction. Someone will fix their problem. Someone will tell them what to do next. They live waiting for a sign. They live hoping for a miracle. They wait for support. They wait for recognition. They wait for a phone call, a message, a reason, a lucky break. But here's the truth. No one is coming. Not to rescue you, not to carry you, not to build your dreams for you. The longer you believe someone else will do the heavy lifting, the longer you'll stay stuck where you are. You were given a mind, you were given time, you were given life. And the moment you understand that, it's on you, not your parents, not your past, not your friends, not your partner, not your job. The faster everything will start to shift. The only thing that can save you is the action you take now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when it's easier, now. Act like no one is coming to save you, because they're not. And that's not a sad thing. It's a powerful truth. Because when you stop waiting for someone to show up, you finally realize you are the one. You are the one responsible for your decisions, for your energy, for your habits, for your standards, for your future. And when you accept that fully, you stop giving away your power. You stop waiting for help and start creating your next move. People say they want freedom, but they don't act like it. They say they want success, but their actions show dependency. Waiting is a form of weakness. It's a form of mental laziness. It keeps you in a cycle where nothing moves until someone else does. Millionaire minds don't operate like that. They don't wait to be pushed. They move because they know they have to. They think for themselves. They fix what's broken. They stay awake when others are sleeping. They rise early to plan. They work late to adjust. They don't look around for permission. They build momentum, even when it's hard. There's a deep peace in knowing you have to rely on yourself. It removes the pressure of needing others to make your life work. When you act like no one is coming, you begin solving problems instead of complaining about them. You stop pointing fingers. You stop explaining your situation to people who don't care. You stop justifying your delays. You stop making emotional excuses. You start fixing. You start building. You start facing what you've been avoiding. Nobody is responsible for your emotional control but you. Nobody owes you motivation. Nobody owes you clarity. Nobody is supposed to keep you disciplined. These are all your jobs. And if you don't do them, no one else will. That's how most people lose. They think someone else is in charge of their consistency. Someone else is in charge of their direction. So they blame others when things fall apart. But if you want to rise, really rise, you have to build that kind of toughness that says, even if I'm tired, even if no one supports me, I'm still going to figure it out. When you begin to act like no one is coming, your work changes. Your discipline changes. You become sharper. You become more serious. You become more intentional. You begin cutting off weak habits because you realize they only slow you down. You stop scrolling through other people's lives and focus on building your own. You stop comparing. You stop seeking sympathy. You stop explaining yourself to people who never built anything themselves. Your actions start speaking for you. You have to become the person who gives yourself the talk you need, the one who holds yourself accountable, the one who corrects your own behavior. You have to develop the skill of checking yourself when you start falling off. You can't keep relying on external pressure to stay focused. If you do, you'll only move when someone's watching. That's not strength. That's dependency. A millionaire mindset is built when you move strong, even when no one claps, no one calls, and no one congratulates. And when things get hard, and they will, you don't fold. You don't panic. You don't run. You pause, you think, and then you adjust. Because you're not expecting someone else to make it easier for you. You're expecting yourself to get stronger. That's the mindset difference. Most people fall apart under pressure because they thought someone else was going to hold them up. You're not that person anymore. You're the one who builds the weight and carries it. You're the one who fixes the leak and keeps the ship moving. This mindset will cost you some things. It will cost you fake friendships. It will cost you weak habits. It will cost you the illusion of safety. It will cost you the comfort of excuses, but in return, it gives you self-respect. It gives you power. It gives you focus. It gives you a reason to wake up and give your full energy to the day. It gives you independence. And that's what most people secretly want, but are afraid to earn. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide that you are responsible right now for your money, for your health, for your progress, for your peace. Nobody else. You have to stop telling yourself that someone out there will come and change it all for you. That thinking is what's keeping you behind. You can't outsource your future. You can't rent self-discipline. You can't borrow success. It must be earned every single day through your actions, through your decisions, through your mindset. Acting like no one is coming doesn't mean you can't have support. It just means you stop depending on it. You stop expecting it. You stop needing it to move forward. If it's there, fine. If it's not, you still move. You still improve. You still stay consistent. You become the kind of person who can carry the mission with or without applause, because you know what's at stake. You know your potential, and you know your future won't wait forever. There's a calm that comes with self-responsibility. It makes you more focused, more present. You don't waste time looking around, you look within. And from there, everything starts to shift, because now you're the source. Now you're the one deciding how your story ends. And when you live that way, your mind sharpens, your work ethic multiplies, your decisions become clearer, and most of all, you start to trust yourself again. That's what changes everything. You stop playing the victim. You stop looking for handouts. You stop waiting for conditions to improve. You start improving yourself. And when you get there, when you really get there, the noise fades, the doubt fades, the distractions lose their pull. You're no longer looking around. You're moving forward fully, without hesitation, without delay. So decide now. No one's coming. And that's the best news you'll hear, because now it's all in your hands. Your progress, your energy, your next step. Own it. Push it. Build it. Because when it's all said and done, your life will be the result of one thing: how hard you worked when no one was watching. Number 3, stop talking about change and do something real today. Everyone talks about changing their life. It's easy to talk. It sounds good, makes you feel like you're doing something, but the truth is, talk doesn't change anything. Only action does. Saying, I'm going to get better, doesn't make you better. Saying, I want to be successful, doesn't build success. Wanting is not working. Hoping is not doing. Most people get stuck in this cycle where they keep talking about what they're going to do next, but they never do anything today. That's the trap. The more you speak without action, the more your words lose meaning. And the more you delay, the harder it becomes to move. You don't get points for planning to change. You don't grow by writing down goals you don't follow. The only thing that changes your life is what you actually do. You can talk for years about fixing your routine, learning new skills, improving your health, becoming disciplined, starting a business, becoming stronger, waking up early. But if it never turns into action, your life stays exactly the same. People don't need more advice. They don't need more motivation. They need to stop lying to themselves. They need to stop telling the world what they're about to do and start proving it through movement. Real change doesn't wait until Monday. It doesn't wait until the schedule is perfect. It doesn't need more research. It doesn't need everyone's approval. It just needs a decision backed by action. If you've been saying, I'm going to change for months or years, then it's time to stop talking and do something real. Take a cold, honest look at your habits. Look at how you spend your time. Look at the things you've avoided. Look at how often you say, I'll start tomorrow. That's the truth. That's where change begins. Not in a fantasy, not in future promises, but in raw, uncomfortable honesty. Do something real today. Not a small gesture that makes you feel good. Not another post on social media. Not another conversation about how serious you are this time. Do something that costs you comfort. Do something that demands effort. Something that makes you sweat. Something that pulls you away from your normal pattern and forces you to stretch. It might be cutting off a bad habit. It might be having a hard conversation. It might be sitting down in silence and planning your next 30 days without distraction. It might be deleting the apps that waste your hours. It might be canceling time with people who don't push you forward. Whatever it is, make it real, make it strong, make it undeniable. Because every day you only talk and don't act, You lose self-respect. You weaken your identity. You train yourself to be comfortable with delay. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes to lie to yourself. Until one day, you look back and realize you've been stuck for years. Stuck in the same habits, stuck in the same mindset, stuck in the same patterns of almost starting. You don't need a new goal, you need a new standard. You need to hold yourself to a level where only action matters, where words are cheap, where progress is not about how you feel, it's about what you finish. Stop saying you want to be disciplined and start building discipline through repetition, through structure, through doing what you said without a mood attached to it. You have to treat today like it matters, because it does. Most people waste today like they have a backup life. They think next week will finally be different, but it won't. Not unless you do something now. The smallest step you take today is worth more than all the promises you make about tomorrow. Start now, not for the internet, not to prove anything to others. Do it because you said you would. Do it because you've had enough of feeling stuck. Do it because you owe it to yourself to break the cycle. You are not here to talk about a better life. You are here to build one. You don't need to fix everything in one day, but you do need to stop wasting more days. Your energy is not unlimited. Your focus has limits. Your time is running. And if you don't move, life won't wait for you. Do something today that your future self will be thankful for. Something that creates momentum. Something that shifts your direction. If you keep talking about change but don't act, the people around you will stop believing in you. But worse than that, you will stop believing in yourself. That's what really breaks people. Not failure, not rejection, but the slow, silent loss of self-trust that happens when you keep saying, I'm serious this time, but fall back into the same habits. You don't need another restart. You need to commit and follow through. You need to feel the pain of discipline instead of the shame of delay. You need to look at your current results and say, this is not enough. And not just say it, but act like it. Change your phone habits. Change your sleeping habits. Change your circle. Change your work ethic. Not next month. Today. Not later in the evening, now. Do it, even if it's uncomfortable. Especially if it's uncomfortable. No one is going to carry you to success. No one is going to fight for your goals more than you. No one is coming to push you every day. That responsibility is yours. And the longer you act like you have time to waste, the more damage you do to your future. Some people don't need a new life. They just need to stop wasting the one they already have. So do something real today, even if it's one hard decision, one clear action, one step toward order, one move toward strength. Make it real. Make it count. And tomorrow, do it again. That's how change happens. Quietly, privately, with daily choices no one sees. You won't feel amazing at first. You won't always see fast results. But you'll know. You'll feel it in your confidence, in your energy, in your ability to trust yourself again. When you stop talking and start moving, you get your power back. So if you're tired of hearing yourself say the same things year after year, then today is the day you stop. Today is the day you make a shift. Not through a speech, not through a promise, but through action. Do something hard. Do something real. Do something now, because you've wasted enough time already. And if you don't do it now, then when? Number 4, control your emotions, or they will control your money. Money doesn't respond to how you feel. It doesn't care if you're excited. It doesn't care if you're angry. It doesn't care if you're tired, frustrated, or overwhelmed. Money follows discipline, not emotion. It rewards the person who can stay calm under pressure, not the one who reacts to every feeling. If you don't control your emotions will take control of your decisions. And every bad financial decision starts with a moment where emotion took over logic. People lose money not because they don't have potential, but because they act without thinking. They spend when they're stressed. They buy when they're bored. They chase when they're desperate. They stop working when they feel discouraged. They let emotions speak louder than reason. And that's how they fall behind. Not just once, but over and over again. One small emotional decision repeated often becomes a lifestyle of regret. If you want to develop a mindset that leads to wealth, you must first gain control over your emotional patterns. Because money responds to clarity. It follows strategy. It requires patience. And none of that exists when you're emotionally unstable. Emotional control is not just a soft skill, it's a survival tool in your journey toward financial independence. You can't grow your income if you quit every time you feel tired. You can't invest wisely if you panic every time the numbers drop. You can't build savings if you keep justifying every impulse purchase with emotional reasoning. You can't become valuable in the marketplace if you lose control of your attitude every time something doesn't go your way. Your ability to stay focused when you're frustrated, your ability to work while your feelings are loud, your ability to stay calm when the pressure rises. These are the real skills that shape your financial future. People don't talk about this enough, but emotional spending is one of the biggest traps. You feel down, so you buy something to feel better. You feel left out, so you try to impress. You feel insecure, so you chase status. But money spent emotionally is rarely money spent wisely. It doesn't move you forward. It gives you a short-term high and a long-term cost. The real solution is not more money, it's better control of how you respond to what you feel. You don't fix emotional habits with more income. If you can't manage emotions with a small amount of money, you'll lose faster when the numbers get bigger. The stakes just get higher. The pressure gets louder. That's why people who win financially are not always the smartest, but they are almost always emotionally steady. They think before they act. They don't allow bad moods to lead to bad purchases. They don't chase after things that look good but pull them further from their goals. Most financial mistakes don't come from lack of knowledge. They come from poor control of reactions. You make a mistake and instead of correcting it, you spiral. You miss an opportunity and instead of learning, you blame. You get behind and instead of adjusting, you freeze. That pattern doesn't just block money, it blocks growth. And if you don't learn how to manage what you feel, those feelings will manage your future. There will be days where the pressure is high, where nothing goes according to plan, where business is slow, where bills pile up, where motivation disappears. In those moments, your emotions will want to take the lead. But those are the moments where you must stay composed, not fake, not numb, but clear. Feel what you feel, but don't follow it blindly. Pause before you act. Ask yourself if your next move is building your future or just calming your fear. The strongest people are not the ones who avoid emotion. They are the ones who move forward while carrying it. They don't suppress it. They understand it. They don't ignore their frustration. They face it, and then they use it. They use discomfort to adjust their actions, not destroy their progress. They get better at responding, not reacting. Every emotional response has a cost. Sometimes it's your time. Sometimes it's your energy. Sometimes it's your discipline. But often, it's your money. And when your financial decisions are built on emotion, your future gets unpredictable. You end up chasing after things to feel good instead of building systems to become free. This is why it's so important to slow down before decisions. You don't need to rush into every opportunity. You don't need to spend every time you feel discomfort. You don't need to speak every time you're angry. Step back. Take a breath. Think about what you're trying to build. Remember what's at stake, because the ability to delay one emotional reaction can protect you from months or even years of regret. No one becomes wealthy by chance. It takes structure. It takes daily awareness. You need to know your emotional triggers. You need to know how your energy shifts. You need to know what pulls you off track. That's part of emotional intelligence. It's not just about being calm. It's about being aware of what can destroy your momentum. Think about the last time you made a bad decision with money. What were you feeling? Were you angry? Were you impatient? Were you trying to prove something? Did you try to fix a deeper issue with a quick solution? That's the pattern you have to catch. That's what needs to change. Not just the habit, but the emotion behind the habit. If you want to rise financially, you must become the kind of person who can handle stress without losing control. You must build the skill of sitting with frustration without rushing into something dumb. You must learn how to pause your desire for instant comfort and stay loyal to your long-term vision. That's strength, and that strength turns into results. Success doesn't come to the one who feels the most. It comes to the one who stays grounded when feelings hit hard. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to deal with failure. You're going to lose things. But what matters is how you respond. Do you rebuild or do you break down? Do you stay consistent or do you fall into old habits? You must be able to say no, even when it feels good to say yes. You must protect your focus when your feelings try to pull you away. You must keep your standards high when your emotions beg for relief. That's how you build something that lasts. Not by chasing every impulse, but by holding yourself accountable, even when it hurts. Every time you control your emotions, you gain more control over your direction. You think clearer. You move smarter. You make decisions from power, not panic. And that shift will put you ahead of most people, because while they're reacting, you're building. While they're chasing emotions, you're stacking discipline. So ask yourself, are your emotions helping your money or hurting it? Are they pushing you to grow or pulling you into chaos? Your answer will tell you everything you need to know about your current mindset. It's time to stop letting feelings drive the car. Emotions can sit in the back seat, but logic, clarity, and responsibility need to hold the wheel. Because your financial future deserves more than a reaction. It deserves leadership. It deserves your full attention. And that starts the moment you stop serving your feelings and start commanding your actions. Number 4, control your emotions, or they will control your money. Money doesn't respond to how you feel. It doesn't care if you're excited. It doesn't care if you're angry. It doesn't care if you're tired, frustrated, or overwhelmed. Money follows discipline, not emotion. It rewards the person who can stay calm under pressure, not the one who reacts to every feeling. If you don't control your emotions will take control of your decisions. And every bad financial decision starts with a moment where emotion took over logic. People lose money not because they don't have potential, but because they act without thinking. They spend when they're stressed. They buy when they're bored. They chase when they're desperate. They stop working when they feel discouraged. They let emotions speak louder than reason. And that's how they fall behind, not just once, but over and over again. One small emotional decision repeated often becomes a lifestyle of regret. If you want to develop a mindset that leads to wealth, you must first gain control over your emotional patterns. Because money responds to clarity. It follows strategy. It requires patience. And none of that exists when you're emotionally unstable. Emotional control is not just a soft skill, it's a survival tool in your journey toward financial independence. You can't grow your income if you quit every time you feel tired. You can't invest wisely if you panic every time the numbers drop. You can't build savings if you keep justifying every impulse purchase with emotional reasoning. You can't become valuable in the marketplace if you lose control of your attitude every time something doesn't go your way. Your ability to stay focused when you're frustrated. Your ability to work while your feelings are loud. Your ability to stay calm when the pressure rises. These are the real skills that shape your financial future. People don't talk about this enough. But emotional spending is one of the biggest traps. You feel down, so you buy something to feel better. You feel left out, so you try to impress. You feel insecure, so you chase status. But money spent emotionally is rarely money spent wisely. It doesn't move you forward. It gives you a short-term high and a long-term cost. The real solution is not more money, it's better control of how you respond to what you feel. You don't fix emotional habits with more income. If you can't manage emotions with a small amount of money, you'll lose faster when the numbers get bigger. The stakes just get higher. The pressure gets louder. That's why people who win financially are not always the smartest, but they are almost always emotionally steady. They think before they act. They don't allow bad moods to lead to bad purchases. They don't chase after things that look good but pull them further from their goals. Most financial mistakes don't come from lack of knowledge. They come from poor control of reactions. You make a mistake and instead of correcting it, you spiral. You miss an opportunity and instead of learning, you blame. You get behind, and instead of adjusting, you freeze. That pattern doesn't just block money, it blocks growth. And if you don't learn how to manage what you feel, those feelings will manage your future. There will be days where the pressure is high, where nothing goes according to plan, where business is slow, where bills pile up, where motivation disappears. In those moments, your emotions will want to take the lead. But those are the moments where you must stay composed, not fake, not numb, but clear. Feel what you feel, but don't follow it blindly. Pause before you act. Ask yourself if your next move is building your future or just calming your fear. The strongest people are not the ones who avoid emotion. They are the ones who move forward while carrying it. They don't suppress it. They understand it. They don't ignore their frustration. They face it, and then they use it. They use discomfort to adjust their actions, not destroy their progress. They get better at responding, not reacting. Every emotional response has a cost. Sometimes it's your time. Sometimes it's your energy. Sometimes it's your discipline. But often, it's your money. And when your financial decisions are built on emotion, your future gets unpredictable. You end up chasing after things to feel good instead of building systems to become free. This is why it's so important to slow down before decisions. You don't need to rush into every opportunity. You don't need to spend every time you feel discomfort. You don't need to speak every time you're angry. Step back. Take a breath. Think about what you're trying to build. Remember what's at stake. Because the ability to delay one emotional reaction can protect you from months or even years of regret. No one becomes wealthy by chance. It takes structure. It takes daily awareness. You need to know your emotional triggers. You need to know how your energy shifts. You need to know what pulls you off track. That's part of emotional intelligence. It's not just about being calm. It's about being aware of what can destroy your momentum. Think about the last time you made a bad decision with money. What were you feeling? Were you angry? Were you impatient? Were you trying to prove something? Did you try to fix a deeper issue with a quick solution? That's the pattern you have to catch. That's what needs to change. Not just the habit, but the emotion behind the habit. If you want to rise financially, you must become the kind of person who can handle stress without losing control. You must build the skill of sitting with frustration without rushing into something dumb. You must learn how to pause your desire for instant comfort and stay loyal to your long-term vision. That's strength, and that strength turns into results. Success doesn't come to the one who feels the most. It comes to the one who stays grounded when feelings hit hard. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to deal with failure. You're going to lose things. But what matters is how you respond. Do you rebuild or do you break down? Do you stay consistent or do you fall into old habits? You must be able to say no, even when it feels good to say yes. You must protect your focus when your feelings try to pull you away. You must keep your standards high when your emotions beg for relief. That's how you build something that lasts. Not by chasing every impulse, but by holding yourself accountable, even when it hurts. Every time you control your emotions, you gain more control over your direction. You think clearer. You move smarter. You make decisions from power, not panic. And that shift will put you ahead of most people. Because while they're reacting, you're building. While they're chasing emotions, you're stacking discipline. So ask yourself, are your emotions helping your money or hurting it? Are they pushing you to grow or pulling you into chaos? Your answer will tell you everything you need to know about your current mindset. It's time to stop letting feelings drive the car. Emotions can sit in the back seat, but logic, clarity, and responsibility need to hold the wheel. Because your financial future deserves more than a reaction. It deserves leadership. It deserves your full attention. And that starts the moment you stop serving your feelings and start commanding your actions. Number 6, wake up early even when nobody is watching you. Waking up early is not about impressing anyone. It's not about proving anything to the world. It's not about showing off discipline. It's about building a private foundation that no one sees, but changes everything. When you wake up early, even when nobody is watching, you send a message to yourself. You tell your mind that you're serious. You show yourself that you can follow through. You prove that your growth doesn't depend on applause, attention, or someone checking in on you. It comes from within. That's where real strength begins, in the quiet decisions, in the lonely moments, in the hours nobody talks about. Most people sleep through opportunity. They set alarms and then break promises to themselves before the day even starts. They say they'll rise early, but when the time comes, they trade progress for another hour of comfort. They delay growth because it's easier to stay in bed. But every time you choose comfort over commitment, you weaken your ability to lead yourself. And the truth is, you cannot build anything great without personal leadership. Getting up early is one of the few things you control fully. Nobody decides it for you. Nobody forces it. It's your choice every single day. And that's why it's powerful. Because if you can win that battle, if you can get up when it's hard, when it's dark, when it's quiet, then you can win bigger battles. It builds a sense of control over your life. It creates structure. It teaches you to act without needing an audience. It teaches you to work while others wait. In the early hours, there's no noise, no distractions, no opinions, just space. Space to think, space to prepare, space to sharpen your mind before the world pulls it in 10 different directions. And that space is where your advantage is created. That's where your mindset separates from the average. Because while they sleep, you move. While they delay, you prepare. While they hit snooze, you get ahead. Not because you're better, but because you're disciplined. Discipline doesn't show up once a week. It's built in the daily choices nobody sees. It's in the alarm you don't ignore. It's in the routine you don't skip. It's in the commitment you honor when there's no reward. And the early hours test all of that. They expose your level of seriousness. They reveal whether you're chasing results or just playing with the idea of improvement. When you get up early, you're not just gaining time. You're building identity. You're creating a version of yourself that follows through, that pushes through resistance, that starts the day with intention instead of reacting to it. And that identity shift affects everything. You work with more focus. You speak with more conviction. You move with more clarity. Because you know you're not waiting on the world to give you direction. You already gave it to yourself. People often ask how to build confidence. It starts here, in the private decisions, in keeping promises you don't announce, in doing what's right when no one's around to clap for you. That's the confidence that lasts. Not the kind that needs approval, but the kind that's earned in silence. When you rise before the world, you live ahead of the world, not in a loud way, in a steady, grounded way. There will be days when it's harder, when the bed feels warmer, when your mind tells you to skip it. And those are the days that matter most. Because every time you push through that feeling, you chip away at the weaker version of you. You remove excuses. You train your willpower. And the more you do that, the stronger you become. You won't always feel motivated, but you don't need motivation when you've trained discipline. Discipline does the work when motivation disappears. And the early morning is where that discipline is tested. It's easy to rise when you feel inspired. It's harder to rise when there's no reason except the one you created for yourself. That's where mental toughness is formed. That's how you start separating yourself from the average. Time is the most valuable thing you have, but it only matters if you use it well. Waking up early gives you time before the world takes it. It gives you time to learn, to plan, to build, to train, to think, to reset. It gives you time to lead your life instead of catching up to it. And every day you take advantage of that time, you build a life that moves with direction, not reaction. Don't rise early for attention. Don't post it. Don't talk about it. Just do it. Keep it between you and your goals. Let the results speak. Let your work show what time you wake up. Let your growth be the proof. Because when you don't need to be watched to stay consistent, you've developed something most people never do: self-respect. This isn't about being perfect. You'll have off days, but it's about being committed. It's about showing up more often than not. It's about having more days where you take control than days where you hand it away. And the first hour of your day usually sets the tone for the rest. Start it on your terms, and the rest tends to follow. You don't need a miracle morning. You don't need a perfect routine. You just need to get up and do something that builds you. Read something that sharpens your thinking. Move your body. Plan your goals. Reflect. Write. Prepare your mind. Build structure. Don't waste the first hour reacting to your phone or scrolling through noise. Use it to build your advantage. Because while others are hoping for progress, you're already creating it. And you'll start to notice something. You'll move into your day with a calm mindset. You'll handle pressure better. You'll solve problems faster. You'll feel more grounded. And that's not an accident. That's what happens when you start your day in control instead of chaos. So make it none. Set your alarm and get up when it rings. Not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. That simple action builds trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, everything changes. Your goals stop being fantasies. They become directions you follow daily. You won't always see instant results. That's not the point. This is about process, about who you become by showing up consistently, about building a mental edge that most people don't have. Because when you learn to rise without being told, when you learn to work without being watched, you become dangerous, focused, strong, disciplined. And those traits shape your future more than any external factor ever will. No one needs to see you getting better. No one needs to validate your effort. But you need to know you gave your day a real start, that you didn't delay your goals, that you didn't let weakness win, that you showed up ready to grow. That's the power of waking up early when no one is watching, and you're still all in. Number 7, stop explaining yourself and start building your results. You don't owe the world an explanation for chasing growth. You don't need to justify your hunger, your silence, your ambition, your priorities, or your discipline. You don't have to explain why you've changed. You don't have to explain why you're working late, waking early, staying focused, or distancing yourself from distractions. The more you explain, the more energy you waste. And the more you try to get people to understand your path, the more you slow yourself down. You don't need to convince anyone. You need to build. That's what will speak for you. Most people are busy trying to prove their intentions. They want others to understand their reasons. They want acceptance. They want support. They want permission. But real growth doesn't wait for permission. Real results don't need a press release. You don't have to tell everyone what you're about to do. You just have to start doing it, quietly, consistently, day by day, step by step, and let the results speak louder than anything you could say. The truth is, most people won't understand your discipline. They won't understand your choices. They won't understand your silence. They'll think you're cold. They'll say you've changed. They'll question your decisions. But that's okay, because they're not supposed to understand it. They're not building what you're building. They're not carrying what you carry. They don't see what you see. They don't feel what's driving you inside, and they don't need to. You've already spent enough time explaining your potential. Now it's time to prove it. You've told people what you're going to do. You've shared your dreams. You've talked about your goals. But now the talking needs to stop, because words without results become noise. And the longer you keep explaining, the more you distract yourself from the real work that matters. You don't need to explain why you're not going out every weekend. You don't need to explain why you're saying no to distractions. You don't need to explain why your focus has shifted. If people can't see your vision, they'll try to lower your standards. And the moment you start explaining yourself to people who don't have the same level of hunger, you risk watering down your drive to match their comfort. Don't do that. Stay rooted. Stay committed. Stay focused on the outcome. Every hour you spend justifying your path is an hour you could spend building it. Every time you argue with someone about your choices, you trade energy for emptiness. No amount of explaining will help someone who doesn't want to understand. So stop trying to be understood. Start showing up and creating proof. That's how the real builders move. In silence, in purpose, with conviction. People respect results, not opinions, not intentions, not ideas. What makes people pay attention is action followed by evidence. And if you want to earn respect, not from others, but from yourself, then stop explaining your plan and start working it. Nothing changes until something gets built. Nothing moves until something gets finished. Stop trying to be seen and start becoming undeniable. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being focused. It's about knowing that your time is limited, your energy is valuable, and your attention should be spent on construction, not conversation. The strongest minds are not the loudest. They're the ones who stay quiet and execute. The ones who stay consistent when no one's watching. The ones who build routines that work instead of explanations that sound good. You'll notice that as you build more, you talk less. Not because you're hiding, but because you're busy, because you're clear, because you don't need validation. You've replaced it with progress. You don't need applause. You're addicted to outcomes. You don't need a cheerleader. You've become your own accountability. Every result you create builds a new version of you. And that version doesn't explain. That version shows. That version delivers. That version leads. And the more you live like that, the more freedom you gain. Freedom from people's opinions, freedom from emotional noise, freedom from the need to always be understood. So stop pausing your progress to explain your journey. Most people asking questions aren't trying to support you. They're just curious, or confused, or uncomfortable with your discipline. And none of that should be your concern. What should matter is whether or not you're getting closer to what you said you want. What should matter is whether or not your daily behavior matches your long-term vision. What should matter is whether or not you're following through quietly, firmly, with focus. Your life won't change from what you explain. It will change from what you complete, from the plans you execute, from the skills you develop, from the habits you maintain, from the moments you stay locked in when it would have been easier to drift. Build that life, and let that life do the speaking. The strongest statement you can make is consistency. The clearest proof you can show is personal evolution. When people see you showing up every day, improving, sharpening, refining, progressing, they'll stop asking questions. They'll either level up or fall back. But your job isn't to bring them with you. Your job is to become who you were meant to be, fully, boldly, quietly, and that version of you won't have to say much. You were not built to stay in the explanation stage forever. You were meant to transition into execution, into movement, into building, into creating things that last. And that shift only happens when you stop needing people to believe in you and start becoming the reason they believe in what's possible. So wherever you are right now, whatever goal you're working toward, cut the noise, cut the stories, cut the updates, and build. Build early, build late, build when it's boring, build when it's hard, build when no one supports you, build when no one claps, and especially build when no one understands. Because that's the only way anything real gets done. This is the season for quiet work, for focused days, for locked-in hours. You don't need to explain why your energy is different. Let your results introduce you. Let your new life speak louder than your old excuses. Let your progress tell the story that words never could. Your next level is not waiting on a perfect explanation. It's waiting on relentless execution. Start now, stay sharp, and don't look back. Number 8, force your brain to think beyond short-term wins. Your brain will always search for what's easy. It's built to protect you, not push you. It wants comfort. It wants quick results. It wants to avoid effort and uncertainty. And if you don't take control of it, it will guide you toward short-term wins that feel good now, but cost you your future. That's why you have to force your brain to think beyond temporary rewards. You have to train it to look past today. You have to condition it to value long-term gain over instant satisfaction. Because the life you want will not come from shortcuts or quick dopamine. It will come from choosing discipline over ease and vision over emotion. When you focus only on what feels good today, you compromise your potential. You accept the small win instead of the real progress. You check off the easy task and avoid the important one. You chase comfort instead of purpose. And most people live their whole lives this way. They confuse movement with growth. They stay busy, but never build anything meaningful. They want the result, but not the responsibility. And that's because their mind is stuck in short-term mode. Short-term thinking leads you to decisions that relieve pressure, but don't create progress. It leads you to quit early It leads you to chase approval. It leads you to spend before you invest, to react before you reflect, to speak before you think. But real growth, real strength, and real wealth come from doing the things that don't give immediate rewards. The things that take time, the things that build character, the things that stretch you. The most dangerous pattern is getting addicted to short-term relief. You feel stressed, so you avoid the task. You feel bored, so you scroll. You feel tired, so you skip. But every time you do that, you reinforce a habit of weakness. You teach your brain that the feeling matters more than the outcome. You teach yourself to escape instead of solve. And the more you live that way, the harder it gets to break free. Because short-term wins feel good, but they lie. They give you the illusion of progress while you stay in the same place. You have to break that loop. You have to stop asking, how can I feel better right now? And start asking, what will move me forward long-term? That shift in thinking is the beginning of all real change. It's not about never resting or never enjoying life. It's about knowing when to push through. It's about knowing when your brain is trying to negotiate with you. It's about recognizing that your feelings don't always have your best future in mind. If you want to build something real, something that lasts, you have to delay gratification. You have to learn how to sit with discomfort. You have to do the work when the motivation is gone. You have to stay disciplined when no one's clapping. That's what builds a strong mind. That's what builds a life worth being proud of. And none of it happens when you live only for today. The greatest returns don't show up immediately. They grow slowly, like compound interest, like trust, like skills, like mindset. But only if you stay consistent, only if you stop resetting. Every time it gets hard, only if you stop changing direction every time something doesn't feel exciting. The brain wants excitement, but success is often built in boredom, in repetition, in long hours, in uncomfortable silence, in mastering the same thing over and over until it becomes who you are. Force your brain to think beyond the weekend, beyond this month, beyond what you feel like doing. Ask yourself where your current habits are leading. Ask yourself what life will look like in 5 years if you keep showing up the way you do now. If you're honest, that answer will wake you up. It will make you uncomfortable, but it will also give you power because now you're no longer guessing. Now you're facing the truth. Train yourself to delay the reward, to wait longer than most people are willing to wait, to keep going after the excitement wears off. Anyone can start strong. Anyone can work hard for a day. But very few people can keep working when the result is still far away. That's the difference between average and elite. That's the difference between wishing and winning. You don't need more inspiration. You need more consistency. You need better decisions in boring moments. You need to stop chasing small highs that fade fast and start creating habits that shape your future. That starts with what you do when no one's watching, when it's not convenient, when the result isn't visible. That's when it matters most. Your brain will resist this. It will tell you to rest, to stop, to take it easy. It will remind you of how hard things are. But your job isn't to listen, it's to lead. You're not here to be controlled by comfort. You're here to master it, to face it, to push past it, because everything you want lives on the other side of long-term thinking. The version of you with more discipline, more clarity, more impact comes from the actions you take when nobody's pushing you. You don't get stronger by choosing what's fun. You get stronger by doing what needs to be done, especially when it's not fun. You don't become successful by thinking about short wins. You become successful by thinking about what habits will put you in a better position 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. That's where your mind needs to be. Remind yourself daily. This decision isn't about now, it's about later. This meal, this workout, this hour, this project, this conversation, it all matters. Not because it feels good today, but because it's shaping the kind of person you're becoming. And the more you think like that, the more you start to move with intention. Short-term wins make you feel busy. Long-term thinking makes you move with purpose. Don't let your day be ruled by what feels urgent. Focus on what's truly important. Say no to quick fixes. Say no to easy exits. Say no to shortcuts that cost you your future. Because when you finally get your brain to stop chasing temporary rewards, you give yourself the chance to build something permanent. This is how you take control of your life. You think bigger. You zoom out. You focus forward. You get serious. You stop repeating patterns that lead nowhere. You stop restarting every time it gets tough. You stay the course. And when you do that, your life begins to change. Not all at once, but definitely and permanently. Your future is built by what you do consistently, not what you do occasionally. So think long, work steady, push through, trust the process, because results come to those who show up for the long game, not just for a moment, but for as long as it takes. Number 9, treat your time like it decides your income. If you understood the value of your time, you'd treat every minute like it matters. Most people don't. They treat time like it's unlimited, like there will always be more. They waste hours like they don't cost anything. But time is the one thing you can't get back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose a job and find another. But once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. If you're serious about changing your life, you have to start treating your time like it decides your income, because it does. Every minute you spend is either building your value or draining your future. Your habits shape your results, and your time shapes your habits. It doesn't matter what you say your goals are. What matters is how you spend your time when no one is watching. That's what tells the truth. That's what predicts your income. That's what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. If your time is spent on low-value tasks, your income will reflect it. If your time is invested in high-value learning, building, creating, or solving real problems, your income will eventually match that. You don't need to be busy. You need to be intentional. Filling your schedule doesn't mean you're productive. Doing more doesn't mean you're moving forward. What matters is whether or not your hours are aligned with your goals. Most people say they want financial freedom, but they give their best energy to things that don't pay them back. They spend hours being entertained but can't spend 30 minutes learning a new skill. They scroll endlessly but say they don't have time to improve. That gap is not about time, it's about priorities. When you treat time like money, you start spending it differently. You don't give it away easily. You don't waste it on things that drain you. You don't let other people hijack your schedule. You guard your calendar like it protects your dreams, because it does. Your calendar is not a list of things to do. It's a blueprint of your future. Show me your daily time use and I can show you exactly where you're going. The truth is, people with high incomes use their time differently. They don't give it away for free. They don't fill it with drama, gossip, or distractions. They use it to create leverage. They use it to solve problems. They use it to think clearly, act boldly, and build momentum. They value each hour because they understand that every wasted hour is a delayed result. If your income is not where you want it to be, it's not because you don't have enough time. It's because the time you have is not being used at the level it needs to be. No one is going to manage your time for you. No one will come and organize your day. No one will beg you to use your energy wisely. That's your job. And until you take it seriously, you'll keep wondering why things aren't moving. It starts with understanding that every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you say no to something that does. Every distraction you allow in steals progress. Every pointless task you do just to feel busy keeps you from what actually makes you better. Start treating your time like it's expensive, like every minute has a price tag, because it does. The longer you delay taking your goals seriously, the more you're paying in lost opportunity. The longer you stay in conversations that go nowhere, the more potential you leave on the table. The longer you let your time be controlled by others, the less control you have over your life. You don't need to work non-stop. You don't need to fill every second. But you do need to become aware of where your time goes and what you're getting in return. Some tasks are necessary. Others are just noise. Some hours build you. Others break your momentum. Know the difference and act accordingly. Think about this. If you were charged for every wasted hour, would you still waste them? If you had to pay a fee every time you delayed your goal, would you keep putting it off? If your income dropped every time you procrastinated, would you still make excuses? That's how serious you have to take your time. Because whether you see it or not, your future is being shaped right now by what you do with your time today. This is why people who rise to the top are not always the most talented. They're just the most focused. They respect their time. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't waste hours overthinking. They act, they learn, they adjust, they keep moving. And because of that, they compound faster, they grow faster, they earn faster, not overnight, but consistently, day after day, hour after hour, decision after decision. If you want your income to grow, grow your discipline with time. Say no to the things that don't move you forward. Say yes to the things that make you better, even when they feel hard. Replace an hour of distraction with an hour of learning. Replace an hour of comfort with an hour of building. Replace an hour of talking with an hour of action. Those changes sound small, but over time they transform everything. Time is neutral. It doesn't care what you do with it, but it always keeps moving. And if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. Most people are not broke because of the economy. They're broke because of how they spend their time. They choose short-term pleasure over long-term gain. They stay busy with things that don't matter and wonder why nothing's changing. Your success depends on whether you can make time work for you. That means scheduling your priorities, not just your obligations. That means choosing structure over chaos. That means tracking where your hours go and holding yourself accountable when they're wasted. That means showing up when it's boring, when it's quiet, when nobody's pushing you because you understand what's at stake. You can't improve what you don't measure. Track your time for a week. Be honest. Where are your hours going? Are they building your future or maintaining your past? Are they creating income or just consuming it? Are they producing results or just passing by? This kind of clarity changes everything. Stop acting like your time is free. It's the most expensive thing you have. Every hour gone is an opportunity that won't come back. Every day lost is progress delayed. You can't afford to live like you have forever. You don't. And your goals won't wait for you to finally get serious. Start now. Treat your time like it decides your income, because it already does. Number 10. Start over if needed, but never stay average. Sometimes life doesn't go the way you expected. You gave it effort, you stayed consistent, you tried to push forward, and yet it didn't work out. That happens to everyone. Progress isn't always a straight line. Growth doesn't always come quickly. Sometimes what you built falls apart. Sometimes what you believed in turns out wrong. And in those moments, it's easy to feel lost. It's tempting to settle, to accept what's in front of you, to stay average because starting over feels exhausting. But average is not your place. Staying stuck is not your path. If you must begin again, then begin again, but never settle where you don't belong. Starting over is not failure. It's clarity. It's recognizing that something isn't working and having the courage to change it. It's choosing a new direction when the old one leads to a dead end. Most people don't lack strength, they just lack permission. They think they can't start again. They think too much time has passed. They think it's too late. But what's worse than starting over is living a life that never rises above average. A life where you're constantly holding back. A life where you stop trying because it didn't work the first time. That's not the life you were made for. You're not here to blend in. You're not here to live quietly in the middle. You're here to grow. You're here to push. You're here to raise the standard, not just for yourself, but for the people watching you. And if that means letting go of everything familiar, then do it. If that means resetting your habits, your environment, your relationships, your mindset, then do it. Because average will always be easy, but it will never be fulfilling. Average is full of excuses. Average is where people go when they stop demanding more from themselves. It's where they justify poor choices. It's where they shrink their goals. It's where they stop being honest about their effort. But deep down, they know. They know they could be more. They know they're capable of better. And that quiet knowing turns into regret the longer they sit in comfort. You don't want that. You don't want to look back 10 years from now and realize you stayed small just because you didn't want to start again. There is no shame in rebuilding. In fact, some of the strongest people are the ones who had to start over more than once. They lost things. They failed. They made mistakes. But they refused to accept average as their final story. They got back up. Not because it was easy, but because staying down felt even worse. You have to reach that point, that moment, where you say, I'd rather begin again than stay stuck. That's when everything changes. You might have to let go of everything that's familiar to rise higher. You might have to walk away from people who no longer match your mission. You might have to reinvent your mindset, your discipline, your structure. But every step away from average brings you closer to excellence. It's not always fast. It's not always visible, but it's real. And the deeper you commit, the more unstoppable you become. The world is filled with people who started strong and gave up halfway, who had big goals and lowered them because it was taking too long, who wanted more but accepted less because they didn't want to be uncomfortable. That's the pattern you must reject. You must be willing to restart, rebuild, reset, restructure again and again until your life looks like something you're proud of. You don't need to have it all figured out before you start again. You just need to be honest. Honest about what's not working. Honest about what you've been avoiding. Honest about the fact that your current level is not your best. That kind of honesty breaks denial. It cuts through fear. It opens the door to change. And once that door is open, don't wait. Walk through it. Rebuilding takes strength. It takes humility. It takes letting go of your old identity. It takes waking up early when no one notices. It takes working when you're not in the mood. It takes learning again when you thought you already knew enough. But that's where greatness is built. Not in the first attempt, but in the decision to return to the path, sharper and stronger than before. People will question you. They'll ask why you're changing things. They'll remind you of how far you've already come. They'll try to comfort you into staying the same. But don't let their comfort become your prison. Don't let their limits define your potential. This is your life, your pace, your purpose. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting more. You don't have to justify your hunger for growth. The moment you accept average, you begin drifting, not just in your habits, but in your thinking. You stop aiming high. You stop taking risks. You stop showing up with urgency. But when you reject average, even if it means starting from scratch, you reclaim your edge. You reclaim your focus. You step back into the arena with purpose. That's what the best do. They don't cling to past efforts. They stay flexible. They stay hungry. They're willing to be a beginner again, if that's what growth demands. If you're not satisfied with where you are, that's not a curse. It's a signal that you're meant for more, that there's still progress to be made, that the current version of your life is not your final form. Don't ignore that signal. Don't silence it. Listen to it. Let it wake you up. Let it drive you to take action today, not next year, not when things are easier. Now, start small if you have to. Start tired. Start with fear in your chest and doubt in your head. But start clean. Start with clarity. And know this, just because you have to start over doesn't mean you're behind. Sometimes, starting over puts you exactly where you're supposed to be. Because this time, you bring more experience. This time, you bring better awareness. This time, you're not guessing. You're choosing with purpose. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be done with average. You just need to stop pretending that okay is enough. You just need to raise your standards. Not slowly, but decisively. Say it with your actions. I'm done settling. I'm done waiting. I'm done making peace with mediocrity. I may have to start again, but I will never stay where I don't belong. From this point forward, your choices have to reflect where you're going, not where you've been. Every move you make must reject comfort and reach for more. Not because it's trendy, not because someone told you to, but because deep inside, you know average is not your story. It never was, and it never will be. If you want to live differently, you have to think differently. These 3 methods aren't just ideas, they're tools. Tools to break out of survival mode and step into real growth. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start now. Start small, but start with a new mindset. Every decision, every habit, every thought, make sure it's pushing you forward, not holding you back. A millionaire mindset isn't about luck. It's about intention. It's built daily, quietly, privately, and eventually it shows in everything you do. So take what you've learned today, apply it, and begin building the future you know you deserve.